Hello there, welcome to Let's Analyze with Airat. Today's video would be a continuation of the SQL tutorial playlist. We'll be discussing the insert statement and the update statement. I'll be showing you two methods or two ways you can insert values into a table, and I would also be showing you how you can update the records in a table. Let's go straight to my SQL workbench. Perfect. Here was where we stopped the last time, and today we'll be discussing insert values. Using the products table, I'll be inserting values into that table. So using the insert statement, insert into, I need to specify the table I want to insert into. That's the products table. And I want to insert values. Inside this parenthesis is where I'm going to write the values I want to insert. I need to make sure the values I'm inserting aligns with the structure of the data. So I have clicked on the products table in the schemas pane, and down below I can see the information about this table. So I need to follow the structure. Following the structure, I need to first insert the product ID. So product ID 1. I need to insert the product name. I would have to put this in a quote because it's a string data type. So let's say it's bag. The product price, let's say $10.00. And for the release dates, I have to put this in the string as well. And it has to follow a particular format, date format. So it will start with year, month, and date. So let's say 2024, 11, 13. Okay. I have to use the semicolon to avoid getting errors when I write the next statement. And when I run this, I would see that my value has been inserted. If you run into error, like no database is being selected, you need to make sure that you've set the schema as default, because this schema is where our table is. So when you set that, you shouldn't get any error message. Now you can see from the action output that one row has been affected, and this was the action we ran. Now when we go to our products table and we click on this icon to see all the values in the table, you can now see that we have a row containing the values we just inserted. Perfect. So let's say we want to insert two rows at a time or multiple rows at a time. To do this, we are going to say insert into products values. Now we are going to demarcate these rows by using the parentheses. Okay, so let's say this is our second row, and let's say this is a necklace, and it's worth $50, and the date of release is 2024 11/14. All I need to do is to use a comma, and I'm going to insert another parenthesis. This second parenthesis would indicate that it's a second, or I'm trying to insert values into another row. So let's say this row is row 3, that's the product ID 3, and the product is let's say sandal. Is that correct? Yeah. And the price is $20. Let's say the release date is 2024 11/14. All I need to do is add this semicolon as well to make sure that to tell SQL that this statement has ended. And when I run this, I would see that two rows has been affected, 0 duplicates, 0 warnings. And when we run this again, we'll see that we now have 3 rows containing the values we included. Now To show you the advantage or the function of a constraint, when I try to insert a value that is null, so let me just copy this instead of writing again. So let's take, for instance, we don't insert a price. When I run this, I'll get an error. Okay, I'll get an error. This error is due to syntax. But if I leave this empty and I run this again, you see that I'll keep getting errors. This column doesn't match the value or the count at row 1. So let's say the product ID is 4. And I run this again. You see I'll still get errors. So you need to make sure that the values you are inserting into the table aligns with the structure of the table. Okay. This is the first method of how to insert into a table. The second method is by using what we call the import wizard method. The import wizard method inserts a CSV file into the table. When I right click on the product table, you'd see an option to import wizard. So if I click on this, it will bring out this interface. So I need to select the file path of the table I'm going to import. But before that, let me use an Excel file. Let me show you the Excel file real quick. So let's say this is the table we want to import, the territory table. We haven't created this table before. So there are two methods. We can either create the table or let SQL automatically create the table for us. Let's go to SQL Workbench. Let me show you. Right. So in this case, we are going to right click on the table. So we'll click on the option that says Table Data Import Wizard to bring out the same interface we saw earlier. So we are going to browse the path that we want. Click on Next. And here we are going to specify the destination of the values in this table. So we can either use an existing table, that's if we've already created the table in the past. We'll click on Use Existing Table, and you see the drop down list of tables that exist in that schema. But in this case, we've not created that table, so we'll use the Create New Table option. Here is going to be the schema name, and we are going to write the table name. So I'll just use lowercase for the T. I think I like this table name, territory. So I can also click on this option that says drop the table if it already exists. That's if we already have a territory table, if we already have a previous territory table, we can click on this, which will first drop the table and then create a new table. We click on the next option. Here we are going to make sure that our information settings aligns with the information settings of the Excel file, the CSV file. The territory ID is in cell format. The text, the region is also in the text format. I think everything aligns with the data type in each columns. So we'll click on Next. If we click on Next, the table would import, the SQL would prepare imports and import the data files into the table. So let me click on Show Log so that we can see what will happen when we click on the next button. Now clicking on the next button, we can see that it prepared the import, it imported date files, it prepared the new table, prepared the import, and it began to import the values. You can see data import and import finished. From here, we can see there's no error, and from the message log as well, we can see that there's no error. When we click on next, we'll see the number of records that was imported into that table, and we can click on finish. We need to refresh this to see the updates, and now we can see a territory table. We can see the structure of the table, and also down here in the action output, we can see the actions that was carried out. Now let's click on the icon here to see the structure of the table. Perfect. This looks exactly like the Excel or the CSV file we opened earlier. Now let's say we want to make an update to this table. Let me use the products table as an example. I want to update the products table. Let's say the necklace price has increased from $50 to $60. To do this, I would use the update statement. And let's go back to this script. And here we want to update price of necklace to $60. Right. So we need to use the update statement. Update. And what table do we want to update? We want to update the products table. We want to set the product. We want to set the product name. That's the product price, rather. We want to set the product price to be equal to $60, $0. So if I just run this, you can see that I don't have an error. I don't have the X icon here. However, if I run this would update the entire products table. It will update the entire product price in the products table to 60 because we didn't specify the row we want to update. So in this case, we need to specify the row. We can either specify by using the product name or specify by using the product ID. But I would highly recommend we specify using the product ID because that would most likely not run into error. Okay, so we'll specify by saying where the product ID is equal to, the product ID for necklace is 2. So say product ID is equal to 2. And when I run this, I didn't get into any error. And here I can see that one row was affected and one change was made. And when we go back to our products table and we run this again, we would see that necklace is now $60 and not 50. That's how to update the record in your table. So let me run this without using the where clause to show you what would happen. Now let me run this. After running this, you see that I ran into an error. This error says that you are using a safe update mode and you try to update the table without using the where clause. So this is giving me a warning, telling me that if I run this, I'm just going to add 60 to the entire product price. So it's warning me because I'm already in the safe update mode. So I can change the safe update mode in the preference over here, the preference option. But I wouldn't do that because I want to be on the safe side. So that is what would happen if you don't run this without a where clause. So that would be all under the insert into and the update statement. The next video we are going to be discussing the delete, truncate, and chop statement. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye bye.